But we begin with new calls for Governor Greg Abbott to stop the execution of Rodney Reed. Reed is scheduled to die next week for the 1996 killing of Stacey Stites from Bastrop. His supporters, which include celebrities, say new evidence proves he did not do it. Our Matt Doherty is downtown where some local leaders are joining the call for a stay of execution. Matt.
Yeah, Ron, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee is just the latest in a growing number of politicians and celebrities asking for a stay in the execution. The Congresswoman is actually asking for an entire new trial for the death row inmate. Now, Rodney Reed was arrested 1 year after Stites was killed. Authorities say DNA evidence obtained during an unrelated sexual assault investigation matched the DNA found on Stites' body. Reed was convicted of the murder more than 20 years ago in Bastrop County, that's near Austin. He was sentenced to death. The inmate has always maintained his innocence and claims he and Stites were having an affair.
There is a mountain of evidence, DNA evidence, testimony, affidavits that indicate pointing in another direction, not in the direction of Mr. Reed.
Kim Kardashian, Oprah, and Texas Senator Ted Cruz are among those calling for a stay of execution until all of the new evidence can be addressed. Two people have come forward claiming they knew the two were having an affair. An inmate in Stites' former fiance's prison says the fiance admitted that he killed Stites. Now, that information is, however, not new. Prosecutors say it was brought up in a former trial. However, it was not deemed credible by the jurors. He is expected to be put to death on the 20th. We're live in downtown, standing for Houston. I'm Matt Doherty, KHU 11 News.